네, 안녕하세요. 소니코리아 알파 유니버스 시청자 여러분 반갑습니다. 저는 오늘 저희 북산 국제사진제 특별 세미나 로저벨러 인터뷰에 진행을 맡게 된 소니코리아 렌즈 프로덕트 매니저 이희구입니다. 네, 반갑습니다. 네, 저희 금일 세미나는 기존과 다르게 좀 특별한 장소에서 진행을 하게 되었습니다. 여기는 바로 부산 국제사진제가 진행 중인 부산항 제1부두입니다. 저희가 아무래도 지금 현장에서 좀 사진제가 진행 중인 상황이라서 세미나를 진행하면서 좀 잡음이 들어갈 수 있다는 점은 미리 양해 부탁드립니다. 네, 저희 오늘 그러면 바로 한번 세미나의 주인공인 로저벨러 작가님 만나 뵙도록 하겠습니다. 네, 작가님 안녕하세요. 네, 안녕하세요. 작가님, 자기소개 간단하게 부탁드립니다.
My name is Roger Vallon. I was born in New York City in 1950, and my mother worked in Magnum in New York City in the 60s and started one of the first photo galleries in America with very famous photographers such as Andre Cortez, Cartier-Bresson, Elliot Erwitt, Bruce Davidson, etc., etc. So this had a profound influence on me. And by the time I guess I was 17 or 18, I could actually take good pictures already. So I never took any courses in photography. It's been 55 years or so of just going from one project to the next and learning from my own work and others. And so in 1974, I hitchhiked from Cairo to Cape Town, and afterwards from Istanbul to New Guinea. This was a 4 or 5 year trip by land across the world, and I did my first book called Boyhood. Then I graduated with a PhD in geology in 1981 from America and moved to South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa in 1982. I've lived in Johannesburg, South Africa since 1982, and during this time I've done around 27 books, many films, and have built my own museum called the Inside Out Center for the Arts in Johannesburg.
그럼 소개 감사드리고 그러면 지금은 이제 작가님의 전시 주제에 대해서 조금 이야기를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 이번에 부산국제사진제에서 전시하신 주제가 Theater of Mind라고 이제 전달을 받았습니다. 이 전시 주제에 대해서 간단하게 설명 한 번만 부탁드립니다.
My pictures, I think, over the last 30 years have been psychological in nature. I don't consider myself a documentary photographer, so in a way they're about expressing parts of my mind, perhaps your mind through my photographs, in a very enigmatic way. When we think about our mind, it's a very complex concept to think about. You know, when you say, who is the mind? Well, why am I saying what I'm saying? Why did I take these pictures? I mean, this is always the question. Why am I taking these pictures? Who are they about? And why do you, the viewer, find these pictures interesting? So in a way, they're about expressing a hidden part of myself. They're about a hidden part of myself, and hopefully, you as the viewer find something about yourself that's hidden in yourself through these pictures. And if these pictures do that to you, the viewer, then I think I've been successful.
자세한 소개 감사드립니다. 그러면 작가님께서 작품에 내면의 요소를 많이 담아낸다고 하셨는데 이 내면의 요소를 굳이 이제 Theater of Mind라는 그런 제목으로 표현하신 이유가 있으실까요?
Well, you know, I think it's always hard sometimes to title your work, and I think if you create artworks, the title can't be so specific. It has to have a poetic concept to it. It has to have a metaphoric concept. So when we think of the mind, your mind, it's not so easy to understand the mind. It's very abstract concept. You can't put the mind on the table here. You can't look at the mind under a microscope or look at it on your phone. You can take a picture of yourself, but you can't say, this is the mind. So when I talk about the mind, it's a very abstract concept. It's a very puzzling concept. And so when I look at my pictures and I say, one thing that I've always said about my photographs, if you can describe the meaning of the pictures in words, that it's a bad photograph. Then it's a bad photograph. So if you want to understand my pictures, you have to look at them silently, contemplate them, and hopefully when you walk away, they're still there.
이거는 제가 개인적인 또 질문이기는 한데 사실 마인드라고 하면 한국 사람들은 마음이라고만 이제 생각을 하게 되잖아요. 근데 이제 영어로 마인드를 좀 생각해 보면 사실 생각이나 마음 이런 게 좀 같이 표현이 돼 있다고 생각을 하거든요. 혹시 작가님께서는 좀 마음이 이 심리적인 정말 그 내면의 나의 감정이나 이런 부분인지 아니면 이게 정말 생각에서 비롯된 건지 그런 부분이 정말 궁금합니다.
The mind is everything. Without the mind, there's nothing. So the mind encompasses feeling, it encompasses thought, it encompasses meditation, it encompasses a scientific factual thought process. So without the mind, there's nothingness. So the mind is everything. And sometimes one's feelings are mixed. You can at one second you can feel emotional in your heart, and the next minute you're looking at your phone and saying, how does the phone work? So emotions are very complex. They're not, it's hard to say one thing is one thing or the other. It's all very, very complex. It's made up of senses, it's made up of feelings, it's made up of thoughts, and sometimes they're disconnected and sometimes they're all together, and it's hard to judge, to categorize one form of emotion over the other. So when you look at the photographs here, it's very hard to say they're about this or they're about that. If you look at the pictures, they have sometimes very opposite feelings to them. You have opposite feelings, opposite emotions. You can see in the pictures beauty and ugliness. You can see pictures of peace and violence. So there are opposites in these pictures. And so what makes these pictures very hard to say they're about one thing or the other.
작가님 자세한 설명 정말 감사드립니다. 저희가 지금까지는 이번 전시의 주제인 Theater of Mind에 대해서 조금 더 이야기를 나누어 봤는데요. 지금부터는 작가님의 작업 철학 부분에 대해서 조금 질문을 드려보도록 하겠습니다. 전시의 주제처럼 이제 작가님은 이미지들이 내면적 좀 심리적 요소에서 비롯되었다고 하셨는데요. 이 심리적 요소가 이 전반적인 작품에 좀 어떻게 반영이 되었는지 질문을 드리고 싶습니다.
Okay, well, this is a very difficult but a very interesting question. So the pictures I feel are psychological in nature. So they sometimes pose questions to people's state of mind, or their state of being, or their state of identity that they have a hard time answering. But they implant questions that people sometimes haven't asked themselves. They haven't asked themselves these questions like, who am I? What am I here for? What's this picture about? What's beauty? What's ugliness? These opposites that I'm telling you about that they haven't come to terms with. So hopefully these photographs help people direct their mind to questions that they either haven't thought about or don't want to think about. And so I think this is one of the important things about my photographs, that they make people ask questions that they haven't necessarily come to terms with in their own way. And so I think most people who have seen my photographs over the years tend not to forget them.
작가님이 말씀하신 것처럼 이렇게 많은 질문을 하게 되는 사실 작품을 만드시기까지는 정말 힘이 많이 들 것 같고 어려움도 사실 많을 것 같아요. 이렇게 내면의 깊은 곳을 시각적으로 표현하시는 과정에서 가장 어려웠던 점은 무엇인지 질문을 드리고 싶습니다.
Well, the first thing is I never think about a picture till I get there. I never plan anything. So sometimes the picture starts in an unpredictable way. It can be a mark on the wall. It can be a mouse or a rat walking on the floor. Somebody can walk into the place that I'm photographing and say, photograph me. So everything is unpredictable. And so my job is to create order out of chaos. My job is to put things together in such a way, in a way that nobody ever thought about before. And what's very important in my photography is I firstly am a formalist. If you look at my photographs, they're all perfectly composed. So most photographers don't think in terms of formal aspects of a picture, how you make the composition, how the tones work together. People in painting commonly think about these terms. We rarely hear them in photography. So for me, what's important is, one, the picture is organic. It works together like a body, like a hand. You see, the hand works. But next, which is very important, which is the question you're asking me, is, you know, I ask myself, what am I saying here? Am I saying anything of value, or is it incoherent? Is it is a complex statement? Is it a unique statement? Is it an aesthetic statement? Is it a creative statement? Is it something that challenges me? I don't know what about you or anybody else. Does this picture challenge me? If I say yes, then I take the picture. If I say no, then I continue working on it.
자세한 답변 너무 감사드립니다. 그럼 지금까지 작가님의 작업 철학에 대해서 저희가 좀 이야기를 나누어 봤는데요. 지금부터는 작가님께서 이 부산국제사진제에도 전시하신 이제 사진 시리즈들에 대해서 좀 더 이야기를 해보도록 하겠습니다. 그럼 저희 먼저 작가님의 작품을 먼저 보고 넘어갈 건데요. 저희가 이번에 로저 더 렛 시리즈라는 작품을 먼저 준비를 해보았습니다. 그래서 이 시리즈의 총 5가지 사진을 먼저 보여드리도록 하겠습니다. 우선 저희가 지금 진행하는 게 라이브 세미나이기 때문에 작가님께 혹시나 궁금한 점 있으시면 댓글창에 언제든지 질문 주시면 저희가 질문 골라서 또 질문을 드리도록 하겠습니다. 첫 번째로 보여드리는 사진은 잭팟입니다. 네, 두 번째로 보여드리는 사진은 Dancing with the Angel이라는 작품입니다. 네, 그 다음은 Begled라는 제목의 작품이고요. 그 다음은 Revealed라는 제목의 작품입니다. 그리고 마지막은 Smoked Out이라는 제목의 작품이고요. 저희가 우선은 이 시리즈에 대해서는 이렇게 총 5가지의 작품을 한번 준비를 해보았습니다. 그러면 지금부터 이 로저 더 렛 시리즈에 대해서 조금 이야기를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 작가님은 이 작품에서 쥐를 이제 아웃사이더로 표현을 하셨어요. 근데 왜 꼭 쥐라는 상징을 쓰셔서 이 작품을 표현을 하셨는지를 좀 질문을 드려보고 싶습니다.
Okay, well, firstly, I'm not clear about what a rat means in Korea. So, but in the Western world, not necessarily Africa, a rat is an animal that people really dislike. They feel very scared of rats. They feel that they represent something chaotic, something dirty, something they don't want in their house. So a rat represents an animal that perhaps people in the Western world dislike the most. They dislike the rats. That per brain size, the rat is the smartest species on the planet. Rats are so intelligent. So the Roger the Rat, which is the title of the book and the exhibition, part of the exhibition here, is a man who's not clear whether he's a person or he's a rat. He has a confused identity. He's an outsider. He doesn't fit into society. And so I depict this character, half man, half rat, who lives underground, in some city underground. And he lives with mannequins and rats in a Roger Bellin world.
저희가 지금 이제 작가님 작품을 보았을 때 이런 식으로 그 로저 더 렛에서 나오는 쥐가 조금 도덕적이거나 좀 그런 쪽으로 올바르지 않은 행동을 하는 듯한 그런 모습들이 있거든요. 그래서 사실 한국에서도 쥐는 말씀 주신 것처럼 똑같은 그런 메시지를 담고 있는 그런 동물이기도 합니다. 그래서 이런 그 시리즈를 통해서 또 이런 그 쥐가 하는 행동들을 통해서 이 시리즈를 통해 어떤 의미를 좀 전달하고 싶으셨는지 궁금합니다.
Well, this is also a good question. I mean, what does Roger represent? In some ways he's an outsider. But in some ways he's free. He's liberated because he does exactly what he wants to do. He acts according to his emotions and feelings. And most of the things that you see Roger the Rat doing are prohibited in most societies. You're not allowed to do this and you're not allowed to do this. But Roger doesn't care. Roger doesn't care. He does what he wants. He does what he feels. So in a way, Roger the Rat is a liberated person because he's free from the constraints of society. And so in a way, we have to look at Roger not as something bad, evil, something that we're scared of. We should look at him as something perhaps we emulate, something that we would say to ourselves, maybe he's more liberated than I am. Maybe we should learn something from Roger.
자유로운 존재로 이 로저를 설명을 해주셨습니다. 네. 저희가 제가 작품 해석을 좀 읽으면서 작가님께서 정상성에 대해서 이야기하신 걸 좀 보았어요. 이제 그 로저 같은 인물, 보통 대중들은, 또 보통 사람들은 로저가 좀 반대되는 그런 정상적인 삶을 사는 사람들인데, 여기서 정상성은 어떤 대가를 치르더라도 사람들에게는 반드시 지켜져야 할 신성한 것이라고 표현을 하신 걸 또 들었습니다. 그래서 작가님이 생각하는 정상성과 그리고 비정상적인 것은 작가님에 대한 이런 시각이 좀 궁금합니다. 이 두 개에 대한 뭔가 대비와 어떤 게 정상적인지 또 어떤 게 비정상적인지.
Well, this is a very interesting question, something I've been pondering for nearly 50 years now. What's normal, what's abnormal? So there's certain extremes on both sides. On one hand, could be a very criminal person who goes and kills people and does terrible things. Well, you can't say this person's a normal person. So it's something, and that we have to think about, because it's also the differences between societies as well. In one society, what we think is right, in the other society, it's wrong. And so we see this all the time in the conflicts between civilizations, between America and China, or China and Russia. They think they're right and the other one thinks they're wrong. So a lot of these things are value judgments. They're value judgments, what's normal and what's abnormal. So I think it's something just to ponder. There's no clear line here. I think the most important thing to come out of the question, which I tried to answer last time, is that it's important to come to terms with your own feelings, to try to operate according to your own feelings without harming anybody. I think this is the key issue in terms of trying to define normality and abnormality, that you shouldn't necessarily try to do what everybody else is doing. You should try to operate according to your own standards without being on the extreme or creating chaos in the world.
너무 자세한 답변 감사드립니다. 덕분에 저도 오늘 정말 많이 배우는 것 같습니다. 저희 그러면 지금부터는 작가님의 세 번째 시리즈인 새들의 수용소 시리즈에 대해서 조금 이야기를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 저희가 이 새들의 수용소 시리즈도 총 작품을 5개 정도 준비를 해보았는데요. 첫 번째 작품은 Take Off, 두 번째 작품은 Five Hands, 세 번째는 Threat이라는 작품이고요. 네 번째는 Headless, 그리고 마지막 작품은 Invitation이라는 이제 새들의 수용소라는 이름의 시리즈로 총 5개의 작품을 준비를 해보았습니다. 그러면 저희 지금부터는 이제 새들의 수용소 시리즈에 대한 질문들을 몇 가지 드려보도록 하겠습니다. 여기 이 시리즈 속에서 새들과 이제 수용소라는 공간의 대비가 정말 중요한 은으로 또 등장을 하고 있는데요. 우선 여기서 수용소가 가지는 의미에 대해서 조금 질문을 드려보고 싶습니다.
Okay, well, asylum in English could mean two things. One, it's a place of refuge. People who have nowhere to go end up in an asylum. The other, it connotates a place of madness, craziness. So you have these two opposites taking place. And you also have the other opposite taking place, because at least in the metaphor of the Western mythology, the bird, especially the white bird, represents heavenliness. It represents godliness. It represents the link between the earth and the heaven. So you have these birds which have a heavenly quality, and that now they're in this disordered, chaotic house living with people who have no interest in the birds. So there's this breakdown between nature, purity, and humanity. The relationship. So I think if we try to better understand one of the meanings of this picture, it reflects on the relationship between nature and humanity, which essentially is not harmonious.
네, 감사합니다. 그러면 이제 이 새들을 굉장히 초현실적인 환경에서 촬영을 하셨어요. 수용소라고 말씀을 해주셨는데 이 수용소가 굉장히 선사시대 동굴벽화나 아니면 고대 장례식장에서 볼 법한 그런 흐릿하고 유령 같은 그런 모습으로 조금 표현을 해주셨는데 이 수용소를 왜 그렇게 초현실적인 배경에서 표현을 하게 되신 건지가 궁금합니다. 네.
Well, the Asylum of the Birds photographs were taken between 2009 and 2014 in a house near Johannesburg, where the birds and the people and other things, objects, other animals live together. So it's a very unique location, because in most places in the world, the birds are in the cages, and a lot of the animals are outside. But the animals and the birds were free in this house. And so this created a very interesting dynamic. And there were also some interesting objects in this house. And when I went in there, which was usually 5 afternoons a week for 5 years, you know, it took a lot of work and time. If you go back to the same place for 5 years, you know, you have to use your imagination a little bit. It's not like a big palace with hundreds of rooms. So, you know, I integrated my aesthetic and with what was going on there, because, you know, I might have drawn things, other people may have drawn things, there may have been drawings on the wall. So ultimately, what was happening there was then transformed through my mind, theater of the Roger Ballen's mind, through the camera. So you're looking at Roger Ballen's mind through photography here. And if the pictures have impact on you, then it's about your mind as well. So by the questions you're asking to me already, you can see that these are posing questions to your mind that you're trying to resolve.
5년간 5일 동안 매번 같은 장소에서 촬영을 하셨으면은 정말 너무 끈기 있게 작업을 하셨겠어요. 네.
You don't take pictures like this, you know, it takes a lot of work, a lot of time, and you learn from your photographs. This is where the learning comes about, is from taking the pictures. The hardest thing I do in my job is taking the pictures. I mean, every time you go there, you have to come up with something new, and you know, and what do you do next? What's next? What should I do here? So, without being there, without taking advantage of the circumstances, you can't move forward. You can't move forward.
네. 그러면 저희 이제 마지막 시리즈인 저희 환영들의 무대에 대해서 간단하게 질문을 드리도록 하겠습니다. 저희 부산국제사진제에 지금 메인으로 걸려있는 사진들이기도 하거든요. 그래서 작가님이 이 작품을 통해서 저희 사회에게 좀 던지고 싶으신 메시지가 무엇인지에 대해서 여쭤보고 싶습니다.
The Theater of Apparitions project was between 2006 and 2016. It was a 9 or 10 year project. And all the pictures or photographs in this series, which was a Thames and Hudson, the publishing company, book, as well as a film, and it was shown at the Venice Biennale in Italy in 2022. These are photographs of drawings I made on window glass. Initially, it was just like taking a sharp tool and drawing on a window that had paint on it. But as time evolved, I started using different materials and techniques to create this atmosphere of the apparitions. Well, I think in every culture, somehow or another, believes one way or the other in ghosts or apparitions or spirits. So in a way, they're pictures from my imagination of the world of spirits, the world of the invisible, the world of afterlife.
네. 작가님 여태까지 그 작품에 대해서 자세하게 소개해 주셔서 정말 너무 감사드립니다. 저희 지금까지 작가님의 작품에 대한 이야기는 여기까지 하고요. 저희가 마지막 질문을 드리기 전에 시청자분이 실제로 직접적으로 이제 질문 주신 게 있어서 요걸 하나 여쭤보고 가도록 하겠습니다. 작가님의 시리즈가 컬러가 아닌 모두 흑백으로 촬영이 되었는데 그 이유에 대해서 좀 여쭤보고 싶습니다.
I worked in 50 years in black and white photography. I liked black and white because it was abstract, it was reduced, it was maybe more poetic in its own way. And I think black and white in a way is more difficult than color. That's one of the reasons I think people no longer take black and white pictures, because it is more difficult. Their pictures don't turn out as well. On the other hand, which is very important, for the last 6 or 7 years, I only worked in color. And next year, Thames and Hudson, the publishing company, will do a big book on my color photographs.
네. 정말 컬러 사진을 모아서 출간물을 내신다니 정말 너무 기대가 됩니다. 네, 작가님께서 이런 내면의 혼돈과 그런 내면의 심리적 요소를 통해서 여태까지 계속해서 전시를 진행을 해주셨는데, 앞으로 새로운 시리즈나 프로젝트에서는 조금 변화를 주실지, 아니면 기존의 주제를 계속 이어가시면서 작품을 작업하실지가 조금 궁금합니다.
Look, I think as an artist, on one hand, you know, your identity never changes. You know, sometimes you say to yourself, I feel the same now that I felt when I was 5 years old. You know, I'm Roger still. So there's always a continuity. You can't just go from this to that and forget everything you did. So there's continuity between the work. On the other hand, I'm changing every day. I'm experiencing new things, and I have to challenge myself. There's no point going to the back to the sound of the bird's house again. So what's most important, as I said, I'll only release photographs that challenge me. If I feel a photograph challenges me, then it goes out. If it doesn't challenge me, I don't think it's so interesting, it's not what I want it to be, then I won't show the picture. So this is where I am. If I stop working on this level, then I'm going to find someplace in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and retire.
네, 너무 좋은 계획인 것 같습니다. 네, 저희 그 시청자분들 중에서 또 질문을 많이 해주셨는데 작가님에게 좋은 카메라란 무엇인가요? 라는 질문이 있었습니다.
Well, I think camera is basically an instrument. A camera is the extension of the eye and an extension of your mind. So a good camera is something that you feel comfortable with it, like a good car, a good watch, a good piece of clothes. It's something you feel comfortable with, that you feel part of you. And it doesn't have to be the most expensive camera, and it doesn't have to be the cheapest camera. It's something you feel comfortable with, that you feel you're able to express yourself with. And so sometimes people just like to work with a telephoto lens, and other people say, no, I just want something that's a very wide angle. So you have to find the camera that fits your purpose. And sometimes it's trial and error. Sometimes, you can't try every camera in the world. There's thousands of these cameras. And so sometimes it's just chance that you find something. And just like a horse or a chair, you sometimes grow into the camera. You become part of the camera, and the camera becomes part of you. So I think in a way it's partly subjective, but if you want to, for example, take great videos, well, I would recommend Sony.
감사합니다. 저희 제품을 좋아해 주신다니 정말 좋은 이야기네요. 네, 저희가 그러면 그 마지막 질문을 하나 드려보도록 하겠습니다. 여기서 어떤 그 시청자분이 파인아트 작품 전시를 볼 때 일반인의 관점에서 어떻게 하면 작가의 의도를 좀 더 잘 이해할 수 있는지 궁금하다고 하셨습니다. 그래서 만약에 많은 분들이 와서 이제 부산국제사진제를 관람을 하실 때는 좀 어떤 포인트로 어떤 관점에서 사진을 봐야 하는지 좀 질문을 드리고 싶습니다.
Look, the intentions of the artist aren't always clear, and you don't know the artist, so you shouldn't worry about necessarily what the intention of the picture is. I think you have to look at the picture, feel the picture, think about the picture, and come to your own terms with the picture. Now, what's important is that not every picture should appeal to you. You don't have to like every picture. You don't have to think about every picture you see. There's some pictures that appeal to you more than others, and those are the ones you should think about or try to remember in some way. I mean, you can't, it's like walking through a forest and saying, I can remember every tree that I'm walking past. This is not possible. Though you'll find some trees in the forest, all of a sudden, this is so beautiful, or this is so unique, or I like the smell. Well, those are the ones you remember and you think about. So that's all you can do. Just let the picture come to you in their own way and come to terms with them in your own way. That's it. And if you're really interested, buy the book, read about the person, and know more.
그래서 부산국제사진제 오시는 분들도 이러한 포인트 기억하셔서 꼭 숲을 지나가면서 마음에 드는 나무를 발견하듯이 이제 마음에 드는 작품을 발견하셔서 이제 사진에 대한 지식을 좀 더 키워가면 좋으실 것 같습니다. 작가님께서 생각하는 저희가 아무래도 부산국제사진제에서 진행을 하고 있다 보니까 사진제가 가지는 의미에 대해서 조금 질문을 드려보고 싶습니다.
Well, I think the significance of a photo festival like this is the viewer gets a better appreciation of what's going on in the photography world at any given moment. And, the world's a big place, and billions of pictures are probably taken every day. So it gives somebody an experience actually looking at a picture on a wall instead of on a phone. And hopefully there's a good balance between one exhibition and the next, and there's hopefully there's a variety of imagery that people can find interesting and have some relationship. I think given the fact that You know, photography is by far, probably by a factor of thousands, the most used media in the world today. Actually looking at something in the real is actually an important experience, and it helps people better understand the media, and perhaps they can improve in what they do in terms of taking pictures.
작가님 여태까지 사진에 대해서 진지한 이야기 그리고 철학에 대해서도 자세하게 이야기해 주셔서 정말 감사드립니다. 저희 마지막으로 이제 알파 유니버스를 보고 계신 이 시청자분들께 하시고 싶은 말씀 있으시면 한마디만 부탁드립니다.
Photography is not an easy field, so you shouldn't feel bad if your pictures aren't as good as you hoped. You know, it's a very difficult field to take pictures because there's millions and billions of these pictures being taken, and to be able to create something special is not easy. So don't feel bad or deflated that your pictures aren't so good and there are other people that are better. You know, I've been taking pictures, as I mentioned earlier, for 55 years, and it's even after 55 years, it's still difficult. It's still difficult. So, but you know, if you really are serious about photography, you have to do it all the time and focus on it and be passionate about it, and then hopefully, you know, you develop your own path, your own style, and it's something, you know, that people will remember in one way or the other.
네, 감사합니다. 오늘 긴 시간 동안 저희 이제 로저 벨런 작가님에 대해서 알아보는 시간을 가졌는데요. 저희가 부산국제사진제에서도 벨런 작가님뿐만 아니라 이제 다른 분들, 다른 초대 작가님 또한 이제 전을 많이 하고 있기 때문에 궁금하신 분들은 저희 9월 22일까지 진행 중이니까 꼭 한번 방문을 해보셨으면 좋겠습니다.
영국 런던에 있는 서머셋 하우스에 제 사진이 걸렸다는 게 좀 기쁜 감정, 그리고 여러 가지 행복한 감정들이 되게 교차하고 있고요. 다른 포토그래퍼 분들의 사진을 보면서 더욱더 동기부여가 된 것 같습니다.
SWPA 덕분에 사진에 대한 좀 새로운 시각을 보게 된 것 같아요. 그래서 남들한테 어떻게 예술적으로 보일까에 대해서 고민을 하게 된 것 같고, 사진이 정말 예술의 한 분야로서 누군가에게 영향을 줄 수 있구나라는 점도 했고, 그러면서 다른 많은 작가분들의 작품을 보면서 영감도 많이 얻고 아주 좋은 기회였던 것 같습니다.
음악적으로 표현하면 디깅이라는 표현을 쓰는데요. 사진도 역시 마찬가지인 것 같아요. 다른 작가분들의 사진을 많이 보시고 본인이 가지고 있는 사진에 대한 구도와 색감이 언젠가 나타나게 될 것이거든요. 그 색감을 꾸준히 따라가시다 보면은 결국 그 길에 올라오시지 않을까 싶습니다.